In the previous video, we saw how to install SQL Server and we rebooted the machine. Now, how do we actually interface with it? If you were to look at the Start menu and scroll down to the M section, you see that Microsoft SQL Server 2019 has been installed. We have this configuration manager, which we'll take a look at a later video. We have error usage report, import and export, which we'll take a look at another video, and we also have the installation center. But there is really nothing here for us to interface with SQL Server in a very productive way. Going back to the same download page, if I were to scroll down, you see several sections besides downloading SQL Server. Down here you have the option of installing SQL Server on Linux or using Docker. You can install it on a Mac. I don't recommend either one. It's designed to run on Windows. And then we have the SQL Server tools and connectors, which is very important. We'll take a look at some of these in future videos. But for now, I do want to get the Management Studio, the SQL Server Management Studio. And you can see that they have the latest version being 18.12.1, which I've already downloaded. The Ssms 19 is in Preview 3. You could download that if you wanted to. I like to work with software that has been fully tested. So I'm going to go to my Downloads folder where I have actually downloaded this. Here we are, and there it is, Ssms Setup English. I'm going to double click to install this. So this is the front end interface for working with SQL Server. This is the Management Studio, where you can connect to any instance of SQL Server on your network, as long as you have the right permissions, and work with that instance. Very useful. It does not have to be installed on the same machine like I'm doing right now. In fact, in production, it usually is not. It's installed on a workstation. And then you can connect to any instance of SQL Server and do the management with this. So I am going to go ahead and click Install here to the default location. And this will take a little while. As you can see, the installation has been completed and Management Studio would like to restart this machine. So I'm going to restart the machine and then we'll come back and actually start it and see how it works. So restart. My machine has rebooted, so I'm going to click in here and notice I'm logging in with my student account, which, as you recall, was the account that actually installed SQL Server, and we added it as one of the built-in administrator accounts. So once I'm logged in, I should be able to start SQL Server Management Studio and connect to SQL Server engine running in the background. I'm going to go ahead and click Start here, and I'll go to SQL Server. And there is Tools 18, and what I want, as you can see, there are several others. We want the Management Studio. I'm going to right click this and I'm going to pin this to the taskbar so it's convenient right here. So I'm going to start that, and it will take a little bit longer than usual the first time to come up as it makes its initial connection. As you can see, my SQL Server Management Studio has come up, and for server name is pointing to this machine's actual machine name. Notice that we want to connect to the database engine, analysis services, reporting services. We'll take a look at some of these in a future video. And over here, very importantly, it says Windows Authentication. The other option, which is SQL Server Authentication, which we did not set up during the installation, as you recall, is if you want to use a SQL Server account that's built into SQL Server. But because my student account has already been authenticated by Windows, if I click Connect, this should succeed. For server name, also, you have the option for browse for additional servers if there are other servers on your network. You can also just use, instead of the machine name, you could just use a dot to refer to a local machine. I'll just use a period here and click Connect. And as you can see, my connection is successful. It shows a tiny little dot right here. I could go ahead and disconnect from this server. I could go ahead and connect to additional servers. For instance, if I make a connection directly to that machine, you can see that there is a connection directly to the machine. Now both of these are the same. This one is just the dot, this one is the actual machine name, but they're identical because it is the same machine that we are connecting to. I'll go ahead and select this one and disconnect it so it goes away. Notice that it shows my SQL Server engine that I'm connected to, and you can see I'm connected as the student account right here. I have my databases, security, server objects, replication, a lot of goodies right here. We'll take a look at many of these in our future videos, but let's just open up databases and notice that we have some system databases, master model, MSDB, TempDB, and I have database snapshots, which is empty right now. But at this point, I am connected to SQL Server, and just for fun, if I right-click databases and choose to create a new database, which we'll do another video too, more in more detail, I'll just create something called pubs. I'll leave everything down here alone. I will explain these at a later video. I'll just click OK, and it's that simple to create a database. There it is, pubs. And once you expand that, you can see there are tons of modules within a database that we have direct control over. For instance, if I want to create tables, it's going to probably show some system tables, which is even empty right now. But at this point, I could right-click tables and create a new table graphically if I wanted to. You have views, external resources, synonyms, programmability, service broker, storage, security. We'll take a look at many of these in future videos. And this is how SQL Server Management Studio works. This is how it allows us to interface with our database engine, and we could have, as you saw, multiple connections to multiple servers that we are administering. So it's extremely useful, very friendly tool, and we'll take a look at it in future videos in a lot of detail. We're going to be using this tool quite a bit in this series.